Namaste, beautiful souls. Let me know if you can hear me. Happy Friday. Friday is Venus's day. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Okay, I see myself on YouTube. Put that down. Good, good. All right. So hopefully you guys can hear me. No one said anything yet, but today, I wanted to come on just a little bit earlier just because I have some things I need to do later today. But today, Venus will transit into the stars of Scorpio. So we're going to look at that. We're going to see what that looks like in the night sky. We're going to see what that looks like as movement on a chart. We're going to really look at dynamic aspects today. And I'm going to show you a time map of Venus's dynamic aspects. We are also going to go over and just review some of the topics that we've talked about this lunar cycle so far, because what we've been going through and the energies that I've been teaching, that kind of relates to the energy that Venus is about to move through. The month before, we talked about Virgo, the rulerships of Virgo, the rulerships of Libra, the dynamic energies of Venus and Mercury. And this transit for Venus through the stars of Scorpio and Ophiuchus is quite profound and quite interesting. What I'm also going to do today is go over 8 reasons why you should study Venus, why you should work with her cycles, why you should be part of the greater, working with your energy with the greater cycles of Venus. So we're going to review that too. So how's everybody doing? Let's see. Notions and Potions says loud and clear. Sarwin Celeste says, howdy, can hear you fine. Lori from Lookup is here. Hello, happy Friday. Hi, Lori. All right. Yeah, Friday. It's a good day. It's a good day. I had a good week. I did a live on Monday. We did the full moon download. And then I did a live stream on Wednesday with Sumerian Astrology, Abby and Nikki. That was a lot of fun. Super interesting conversation. We kind of went over everything, and then I think we covered the full moon a little bit. And then yesterday was that full moon. So how did everybody feel with that? Was that an intense full moon? Was it a crazy full moon? Did you have any chaos happen to you? Was anything crazy going on? For me personally, I didn't really, I felt really tired this week, like super drained of energy. I would sleep probably 11 or 12 hours every night this week for some reason. So I don't know if that was the full moon energy in Pisces or if it was related to all the solar flares we've been having. Oh my gosh. NASA announced today literally that we are at the peak of solar cycle 25. So we are in it. And for the next year, we're going to be doing these solar flares just like we have been. There's an awesome channel you guys need to check out. I don't have the link at my fingertips, but the gentleman's name is Stefan Burns, and he reviews the solar weather and the ionizing radiation that's swinging around Earth. And his channel is really, really good. So if you guys look him up on YouTube, his channel is growing really fast. People are definitely eating up what he's saying. He uses a lot of science jargon, but at the same time, he sounds like a weatherman, and he's talking about the ionizing radiation of the sun. It's super interesting. So if you guys are into that, definitely check out his channel. Let's see. Lori says she was feeling pretty tired too. Sarah Celeste says health problems lately. Bleh, UC flare. Yeah. Yeah. So it's intense. And I think all of those sunspots that are active are on the far side of the sun right now. And what Stefan said was that within the next maybe 2-3 days, the active regions of the sun were going to start rotating towards Earth. I think the sun only orbits every 11 hours. Christine Cardoza, yay, on my first live. Welcome, Christine. Are you Christine the Incredible? Oh, the guy is Stefan Burns. I'll type it in the chat so you guys can look him up because he's pretty good. There. Yeah, so check him out. I watched his, he does a daily video. Too. I also recorded a Jeep chat on Monday morning on my way home from work after I did a triple header where basically I work a 24-hour shift and then I'm off for 24, and then I work a 24-hour shift and then I'm off for 24. So I did that 3 days in a row. And the last hour I was off when I was going home, I recorded that Jeep chat from this morning. So I seem a little loopy and crazy. I'll do those on the way to work from now on where my head's more together. But basically the conversation that I that I had with myself in the car about statins and cholesterol. That's really important. So you guys check that out, especially since a lot of you guys are women. So you need to know about statins. I'm not saying don't take them. I'm just saying, like, do your research. If your cholesterol is just a touch high, it might actually be a good thing if you're female. So let's see what else. I've been looking into the flat Earth thing, you guys, and I think I'm gonna stick with my globe model, or at least we're in a celestial sphere of some sort, because what got it for me, and this is it, no judgments here, but this is what made sense to me. When you observe the sky spinning, the circumpolar stars in the north rotate around Polaris in a counterclockwise fashion. And then in the southern hemisphere, around the southern pole star, which we don't have the southern pole star, but you can see them, they rotate around a tight little point. They rotate in a clockwise fashion. And the only way you can do that is if something is spinning the same direction. So to me, that makes sense. And also, I've been diving into a little bit, and there's apparently this challenge to go to Antarctica. A bunch of these flat earthers and globers were offered free trips to Antarctica to watch the midnight sun circumnavigate those pole stars. So, yeah. And the funny thing is the person who set it up is a pastor in Colorado. He's not like a government shill or anything like that. He basically just said, let's end this debate once and for all so that people can actually start talking about real ideas and thoughts like that. And so a bunch of people that are trying to debunk flat Earth said, yeah, if you guys go and you can prove that the sun sets in Antarctica during the winter solstice, then I will take down all of my videos. I will, that try to debunk flat Earth. I will say that the Earth is flat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this person is not in it to like embarrass anyone. He's trying to get them to go and actually do the actual observations. And what he found was that most of the flat Earth proponents were either rude, called him a demon, did all kind, would say all kinds of crazy things. And the two that actually agreed to go are now being ostracized by their own community. Whereas the people that are globalists not globalists, but like, as we talk about the globalists, but like those that purport a global model were kind and were excited about it and wanted to prove it one way or the other. So yeah, they definitely take you down rabbit holes. They use a lot of emotional techniques. Just be careful. I wouldn't invest too much more of your time in that sort of research if you're going down the rabbit holes. My conclusion is that we are probably in some sort of spherical realm. It just makes sense. Everything else is spherical. Even atoms and molecules and things like that are sort of in a spherical shape, more toroidal maybe. I don't know. But anyway, it's settled for me. I'm not going to look into that anymore. So let's see. I want to do just a couple of quick announcements before I get into my presentation today about Venus. Thing one, please join the Fellowship of 13 Signs so you guys can get up-to-date messages and offers from me. I do have a new class coming out. It's about Mars. It's called Awaken the Sleeping Warrior. And the theory that I've come up with, just sort of immersing myself in Mars and doing the research around Mars, is that there has been a cosmological trauma in our solar system. When you read the channeled works and the mythologies from ancient cultures, they all speak about this celestial cataclysm that happened. And the planet that once occupied the orbit of where the asteroid belt is now theorizes that that was once a planet called Tiamat, or some other name. I think Marduk is another name for it. But essentially it was a feminine type world. And it began to take on a more of a masculine role. Wars broke out. They destroyed their planet. And what we have now is a result of that catastrophe. And that divine feminine wound, where it was shattered and scattered and fractalized all throughout that orbital belt in the solar system, is what we're sort of experiencing with our divine feminine. There's all these fractals out there. There's all these pieces that we have to come back and bring back to ourselves. And as we do that, as that divine feminine coalesces, heats up, begins to rise because it's been suppressed for so long, we find that our warriors, the true warriors, not the ones that fight and kill, but the ones that defend, the ones that stand up, the ones that keep us safe, are sleeping. they're under a hypnosis. They're under a spell of sorts. So it's sort of like the reverse of the whole Sleeping Beauty narrative, where the female character is asleep and awaiting her Prince Charming. It almost feels like the feminine energy has awoken first to give the creative fires to the sacred masculine in order to appropriately support the divine feminine, and to not be about war and conquest and all of that. So I have that general theory working for me. And what we're going to do as we go through the signs and the houses is we're going to identify how that sleeping warrior might manifest in your life. Because when there's no creative juices, Mars's actions are literally like just directed towards the wrong things. But a Mars directed towards the right things, towards the honorable things, towards the light, towards service, towards spirit, then that is where we can really get a lot of things done, where we can really use Mars to our advantage. And so I want to teach that. And the way that I've done that is I've recorded all the sort of the course modules. So if you want to just run through the houses, run through the signs really quick, I've already recorded those. I did that yesterday. So those will be dripping onto the modules. If you've already in the class, you'll start getting that. Once the modules are up there, we're going to do a live get together on the 12th of November, which is a Tuesday. So that's Mars's day. I'm super excited. It just kind of worked out. And we'll spend about 2 hours. We're going to go through the aspects of Mars in a natal chart and see how the energies of Mars with other planets works with how your Mars might work. And then I'm also going to teach you some really cool tips and tricks from Vedic and Renaissance astrology that you can do with Mars as well. So we're going to do that in the live class, as well as examples from y'all's charts, whoever signs up for the live rollout. And if that isn't enough, I can't even stop talking about it because there's still more, is a breath work exercise in there, fire breath, so that you can work with fire breathing and you can learn the right technique to do it. And I talk you through it the entire time, about 10, 15 minutes. And then there's also a meditation that you can do where it's a guided activation on the energies of Mars. We do some chanting in there, and that's about 24 minutes. So both of those are already available in the course. So I highly recommend you all sign up for that so that we can meet live and we can learn about Mars. Okay. So yeah, Venus square Mars, a wide square though, around 9 degrees, says Shane T. Shane T has intense agitation issues and anger, but normally at grown people doing rude, selfish actions. But I'm learning to speak with authority without threats tactfully. Yeah, that's all Mars energy. How do you channel your Mars? Where do you channel your anger? And I think tapping into your divine feminine, which is what we're doing with these Venus transits, can help awaken that sleeping warrior within us as well. So cool. That's what I got going on. Lori says she's a big Archaics fan now. Yeah. I love his work over there. He's doing good things, and he's also kind of living by example too. You know, that's why I really like his spiritual teachings. So yeah, I'm a fan of Archaics too. Good. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are all here. I love lives, and I wasn't sure if you guys would join me on an afternoon, but I'm glad you did. So this is super exciting. This is my 331st video on my channel. So 2 more videos, and I'll be at 333. That's pretty fun. My husband and I experienced our 333rd lunation of our marriage last May, 2 Mays ago. All right, let's do this. Let's review some concepts first. I hope you guys were able to catch this video. This was the video that I put out. Let me share my screen, Duh. Let me do that so you guys can see it. There we go. Share screen. Click. All right, there we go. So hopefully you guys got to do this video. This one was pre-recorded because I had the meditation. I kept the ads off so that you guys wouldn't get any mid-rolls or anything. And this was my void meditation. So basically, we get in the Merkaba, we go to Nibiru, which is actually a planet-sized black hole. We cross the event horizon, and we go into the void. And the void is chaos. It's Nyx. It's the primordial mother birthing herself. It's where you can recreate your life. It's where you can go back into the past. It's where you can just basically create from nothing, which is Virgo energy, which is why we've been really kind of talking about this, the overall grander archetype of Virgo and what those stars might actually mean for us in a new cosmology for the age that we're in. So I hope you guys got to do that. because that was an incredible meditation. And then last week, we talked about chaos magic, rising above the archetypes. I went into the 5 tenets of chaos magic and ether and how the ether works and shadow time. So definitely check out that live stream that I did. If you go to my channel and you click on live, you will be able to see all the recent live streams. This is a really good one for you guys to know. And none of this is anything that you guys have to believe. This is not like magic rituals or anything like that. It's basically the science behind how magic might actually work. And when you know that, sometimes you can, work with it instead of against it. So then we did the full moon video on Monday, and we talked about the planetary alignments that are very ripe for chaos, for emotional reactions, and that the idea is to transcend it, to end the trance, to rise above all of this. Look at it as a magician, observing the natural order of chaos, things coming in and things moving out, and how you can actually leverage that for your own power, for your own creation, for your own good. I mean, you can use it for evil too. That's what they've been doing for millennia, but we have this power and we can use it for good, and we should. So let's take a look at the sky. I want to show you what this transit's going to look like when we're looking at the stellarium. So this is where Venus is today, right now. She is between the stars of Libra and Scorpio. In Babylonian astrology, this was one constellation, and Libra was actually the claws of Scorpio. This star is called, let's see, what do they call it? We can zoom in. Yeah, Zubul Shamali. Zubin Shamali. But basically those words mean upper and lower claw. So we still have the sun in Virgo. I'm sorry, guys. It's still Virgo season. We have just a few more weeks to go, 3 more weeks, and the sun will be moving into Libra. Mercury will go into Libra in a few days. Mars is going into Cancer in a few days as well. But here's Venus moving into the stars of Scorpio, really now into the underworld part of the burned path, down into the depths, bringing up the secrets, bringing up all of this powerful creator energy, the dark, the suppressed feminine energy. That's all Scorpio. And as she transits through these stars, her last stop will be the galactic center right here on the cusp of Ophiuchus and Sagittarius. Now, guys, there's a lot of debate here about where the stars of Scorpio end and where Ophiuchus begins when you look on a natal chart. The software I have just splits this space in half. But you have to understand that they're not along the ecliptic necessarily like the other zodiac constellations are. You got Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpius, Ophiuchus, Libra, Virgo. So there's almost a cross here, right? Do you see that cross? So when it's represented on a 2-dimensional birth chart, they're just cut in half. To me, the energies are blended and we have a choice. We can use the lower energy like we always have been, the lower 3 chakras where we deal with safety, where we deal with value, where we deal with power, which also brings out the shadow energy of fear, anger, and victimization. But we can also use the higher levels of the Ophiuchus energy, which is the stars of the ascended masters. This is the stars of Christ Judea. This is the stars of Imhotep, Asclepius, the Dalai Lama, the Divine Sophia. Okay, this portal, the galactic center, where the galactic ecliptic is here and our solar system ecliptic is here, forms the cross. It's the dark road. It's where the snake eats the tail. So when you saw on the graphic that I used for the thumbnail, there was that Ouroboros, but in the shape of an 8. It's kind of symbolically what this area of the sky reminds me of, where you have this sort of figure of 8 portal of energy. So let's watch as Venus moves through these stars day by day until we get to the point where we enter the galactic center in Sagittarius. So here we go. This is going to be about a 3-week transit. It'll get us to Halloween. Here, Venus is going to be conjunct asteroid Lilith. So that'll be interesting. That little jump right there, you guys, that was the time change. See how it went from 5 o'clock to 5 o'clock? Because basically the hour goes back. So there's the new moon. Actually, I think it's on the 1st. Oh, no, that's not the sun. That's Venus. So there's the moon conjunct Venus on the 4th. This is the day that the sun moves into Libra. So we won't have to deal with Virgo season anymore. Right there. And then we keep going until the 9th of November, and that's when Venus is at the galactic center and entering the stars of Sagittarius, reborn as a phoenix. These are the images that are often used when we're thinking about Venus through the galactic center, is the idea of the rising of the phoenix, because you've gone through the dark underworld, you've gone through the whole spiritual process, you've entered the void, you've come back, and now you're ready to create with intensity. So that's the sky. Let me check in on you guys. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Thank you for holding off on ads during the meditation. Yeah, of course. It's hard to do, and you don't want to get programmed because you're in that theta state while you're meditating. Casey Gonzalez de la Natasarim, thank you for coming. I'm trying to get over anger issues as well. I used to be so calm and then life happened, but we'll do better. Yeah, you got to rise above it. Whatever it is that's triggering you, it's usually related to something that we have to work on, right? Yeah, I always watch myself whenever I get angry. And the things that would make me angry would be like when things wouldn't go as quickly as I wanted to. So I noticed that. Notions and potions. What's wrong with Virgo season? Well, a lot of people feel the traditional energy of Virgo, which is, overly critical, hypochondriac, over analytical, and I don't believe that at all. But once people go from tropical to constellational, if they find out they've got Virgo energy, there's a lot of, oh no, I love the sign I was before. Why do I have to be a Virgo? And so that's why I'm trying to kind of explain that Virgo is so much more powerful, so much more intense, full of amazing energy. Yes, thank you for not doing commercials during the meditation. Yeah, of course, of course. I try to keep them out of the mid-roll in general, but YouTube will add them anyway. That's right. Notions and Potions says the only thing you can change is your attitude. And that's really where the magic is. That's really where the alchemy is. Amazing. Good. All right. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to get into a little bit more of this presentation. Oh, why won't it? Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go over with you guys why we're studying Venus, why we are picking this one planet out of all the other ones to follow her creative cycles. Thing number one, Venus is the light of creation. Any of you that have gotten a reading from me or have taken my Venus courses, you know that the way that I see Venus is she's this energy that flows through the energetic spinal column. Basically, this serpentine energy, which is very feminine, which is formless, which is within the ether, but is also very brilliant and very light. So it's like fourth density protons or fifth density photons. You can't see them in the 3D world, but you can feel them. If you're tapped into your Venus energy, you can feel this serpent energy, this creative energy flowing up and through your body. A lot of people have tried to associate Venus with one or two particular chakras. The various sources that I've gone through would suggest that Venus might be part of the sacral chakra, which makes sense to me if you think about the sexual energy, the creative energy. And then they also relate her to the Anahata, or the heart chakra, which is love, relationships, right? I don't believe this. I think that Venus actually flows through all of these chakras. Venus rules none of these. Her energy is that Kundalini energy, and it can be sensed through each of the chakras differently. Many people alive today and in ancient times are aware and were having awakenings to the crown chakra through this energy. Most people, though, only experience this energy in the lower three chakras, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. Once it goes into the heart, though, everything changes. Like, to have like that ecstatic bliss in the heart with the full love and compassion of all of creation, that is that heart awakening. That's when you've got your lower three chakras completely healed, activated, and open. you can just allow it to flow into your heart. And there's nothing you can do but fall in love with creation. And that's literally what Venus does for us. And then as she moves up and into the throat chakra, speaking our truth, speaking our inspired truth is all that you can do. There's no other way to speak once that, enters and opens your throat chakra. And then into your third eye, then you just know. You can see things that other people don't see. You can sense things that other people don't see. You get visions and messages from the astral plane and from source. And then through the crown chakra, it just connects you. It makes you it activates the spiritual and the physical modes of your existence and creates just a blinding light of creation in the center of you that radiates outward. So a person that's been able to go through this experience, they're radiating. There's something about them. It's just flowing through their channel in a way that's, literally unstoppable. And that's just reason one, y'all. Reason number two, Venus attains enlightenment, which is what we're all trying to get, wisdom, through experience of the senses. So smelling the rose, eating the apple, petting a dog, like feeling your feet on the grass. This is your creation as a creator God. This is our creation. And to feel it and to sense it is the role of Venus. That's how she gets her knowledge, her wisdom. There's an outstanding, it's a really long article, kind of like a mini book that I have linked to in the description. It's called Venus, the Path to Immortality. And we're going to read this. Planet Venus carries the principle of Venus, which gives the experience to the beings in creation. Experience is sublime and is very different from comprehension. Understanding is one thing, experiencing is another. Understanding is what we gain through the principle of Mercury. So this is how they're contrasting the wisdom of Mercury versus the wisdom of Venus. So there are two basic aspects with us, and we pursue them both. One is understanding, and the other is experience. Experiencing includes understanding. Understanding does not necessarily include experience. So suppose, for example, that I describe to you a fruit which you have never seen or tasted before. I can speak to you about its shape, its color, and taste, and I may also give you the science of chemistry relating to the fruit, or even the details relating to the kind of vibration it carries. All these descriptions can be built up into a big volume. But let's imagine about the fruit in our being. We can gain some comprehension about it, but it is not equal to our eating the fruit and experiencing it. A person who has eaten it and has experienced it can comprehend it. And we can really clearly see the difference between that which we try to understand and that which we experience. And that is why wisdom tells us that experiencing is better than knowing. If a fruit is described to someone who has not eaten it, he at best lives in its imagination. But the one who has eaten it, he not only knows about it, but he also has the experience of it. So thus the man who knows about an apple and speaks about it to the man who has eaten an apple, the man who knows the apple only knows the name, but the man who has eaten the apple may not know of the name. The man of knowledge asks the man of experience, have you ever tasted an apple? The man of experience answers, I do not know what an apple is. How does it look? How does it taste? What is its color? And as the man of knowledge describes it, the man of experience says, I have the experience of it, though I did not know the name of it. And the man of knowledge only knows the name, but not the experience. So you see, this is how Venus attains her wisdom, by the experience, by the physical sensations. Here's another reason. Venus represents immortality through procreation and your creative legacy. So when you're working with Venus cycles, you are destined to be on a path of creativity that either leads to children or your own creative legacy, or both. Because what is it that's left behind when you pass on, when you have that final ecstatic experience of death? What have you left behind? Well, you've left behind your children, and you've left behind everything that you've created. And that's how you gain immortality. So if you want to remember your past lives, be remembered in this one. Wake up in this one. Experience in this one. And this is just the first paragraph of this book. This book should hopefully blow your mind. You want to take it in small chunks, okay? The principle of Venus is the functional principle relating to the individualization in the involutionary process of creation, and it is the principle of immortality in the evolutionary process. It is for this reason that the Venusian principle is regarded as divine and also diabolical. It's diabolical because it's separativeness of consciousness into individual units of consciousness. It's considered divine because by the reversal of the process, it enables us recollection of the divinity in oneself and one's own unity with creation. So, beauty, balance, and pure love are the three different states of awareness relating to Venus, and Venus also holds the key to immortality. Where are we? Number 4, we're halfway through. So, shifts of the Venus 20-month cycle mimic the cycle of death and birth and procreation. Ancient cultures all over the world would studied Venus. They knew her movements down to the second. They would schedule their battles and their invasions around the retrograde transits of Venus, which is about 40 days and 40 nights of a retrograde Venus. Sounds kind of biblical, yeah? And so a human gestation is about 10 months. And then the process of nurturing an infant to the point where the mother can separate even a little bit is also about 10 months. So you put this cycle together, it's a conception, a pregnancy, a birth, and a nurturing. Okay, because that process of birth is not an immediate separation. It doesn't work like that. There's even a grief period for mothers after they give birth because they're no longer physically connected to their baby like they were when they're pregnant. The same thing happens during a Venus retrograde. The creation that you've been working on is finally birthed, and now it's time to let it go and to be its own creation. That's what we're headed for in March of next year. It's a real phenomenon, but it's a cycle. It comes and goes, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, let me see how you guys are doing. You guys still hear me okay? Good, good. Warrior for Truth says, being a Virgo, don't miss anything. I love being a Virgo. Yeah, that's awesome. Good. You're powerful when you're a Virgo. I think Virgos are the most powerful energy. I have a lot of people that I know with a whole lot of Virgo, like stelliums, like 5-10 planets, and it's amazing. They're just so incredibly tapped into Earth and nature and the underlying geometry and mathematic of the cosmos. It's amazing. All right. Casey Gonzalez, I don't mind watching commercials for content creators. It's the least I can do. But during a meditation, it's no. Good. Good. I'm glad you guys agree. Yeah, I'm allowing commercials to play. Yeah. Christina says head, heart, and hoo-ha in alignment. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You know, people are kind of talk about it, kind of run around it when they speak about it, but it's true. It's that what turns you on, what gets you excited, you know? And it's not just about the nether regions. That energy can flow through your entire body. And it's incredible. And Lookup says we sound great. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Let's get back into that. Share the screen again. Okay, put that down. Okay, reason number 5. We're going to get into this one a little bit. Number 5. There are 5 of these 20-month cycles. It takes about 8 years to do it. And it draws a pentagram across the zodiac during 13 Venus orbits, encoding the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio 5. Okay. I could probably load this video up real quick if you guys wanted to see it. Let me see if I can find it. I know I've showed it to you before. See, you guys, I've been doing my research with the flat Earth. I've been checking it out. Okay. All right, let me see. Watch later. I've got it in here. There it is. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Let me turn the volume down on that guy. Let's go to 316. Let's turn up the speed a little bit. And we'll watch this play out. So Earth is in the middle. The sun is this yellow ring. Venus is the pink ring. So let's play it. Go, go, go. There we go. So Venus is tracing this line as Venus orbits the sun. It'll take her 13 orbits around the sun, 8 Earth orbits around the sun, and it draws this 5-pointed star. So you have 5, 8, and 13. And these guys are pretty much the same constellations. They vary by a degree or so. So over time, every 8 years, it drifts a little bit in one direction. So you get kind of these repeating star patterns over each other, just offset a little bit as time goes on. But yeah, there's your retrograde Venus. There's a superior conjunction right here, and then an inferior conjunction coming to create the last point on that star. So I just love all these numbers. They're so incredibly synchronistic to me. It's like if you can't see that, it makes me scratch my head how you can't see that. Because when we look at the Fibonacci sequence, which is basically just adding up the previous 2 numbers to get the next number, you get this sequence of numbers. It looks like this: 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. So 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. So you can see how we get those numbers. The 13th number in this sequence is 144, which is a really important number. It's the square root of 12, but it's the 13th number. So it brings like 13 and 12 together, which is what we're working with 13 signs and the sacred energy of 12. But these numbers encode the Fibonacci sequence and phi, which is 1.618, and it creates these spirals. Y'all, we see these spirals everywhere. Everywhere. Look at that, from embryos to galaxies. This is the underlying coding of the universe. This is what Venus and Earth and Sun encode in their celestial dance. So astrologically speaking, these star points are really important because they occur in the same sign every 8 years. And so halfway between these greater 20-month cycles, so for example, we started another Venus cycle on the 4th of June this past year. So 10 months in, which will be March of next year, we'll get a retrograde star point, and that will be in the constellation of Pisces. And so 8 years from now, we'll have another Venus retrograde star point in Pisces. 8 years ago, we had a retrograde star point in Pisces. So I hope that makes sense. This is the culmination of a Venus cycle. So this is the birth. The pregnancy's over. It's time to give birth and let that creation out into the world. So once we get past that retrograde star point, once Venus comes into her closest point to the Earth, where she's so close, she can even affect the tides. It's very minuscule, but it's there. She affects the tides, but I think it's like 0.02 GYs or something like that. So her just coming in, this is a very hot and transformative energy. For about 40 days, 40 nights, Venus will go very quickly from the pinnacle of evening star, and swoop very quickly down, 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 down every night, disappear for about 8 days, and then come back up as the morning star, like slingshots right up into the sky. And this is what we witnessed last August during the Leo Venus star point. So then she spends a little time way up in the sky as the morning star, and then gently drifts down, 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 down. And then she's gone for about 2 or 3 months, actually, when she goes around the far side of the sun and then comes back up as the evening star Venus. So that's what we see right now. We see a rising evening star Venus. If you were to photograph subsequent nights for the next 4 months, you would see Venus climb higher and higher at the same time every night. If any of you know about Inanna, this is the descent of Inanna, where she has to sacrifice. She has to get rid of her pearls. She has to get rid of her beautiful clothing. She's basically just naked and vulnerable before she enters that portal and then comes back out. So this is a death and rebirth and ascension story within the cycle of Venus. Now, Mercury has a similar pattern, but his cycles are much, much more quicker. They're about 116 days rather than 20 months. And there's a lot less energy associated, the way we associate Venus with death, rebirth, and ascension. Mercury can also do that too, but Mercury is more of a quicker cycle. So I just want to review with you the coming star points for this Venus cycle that we're in. The last one was on August 13th of 2023. And what you'll see in a chart is the sun, a retrograde Venus. And then that is when Venus is in front of the sun, between sun and earth. 20 months later, which will be the coming Venus star point, will be in Pisces. Again, you see a retrograde Venus conjunct the sun. 20 months after that, in October of 26, we have a Virgo Venus star point, where we have a retrograde Venus conjunct the sun. 8 months after that, it's a Taurus Venus star point on June 1st of 2028. This will be fun because Mercury is also retrograde conjunct the sun. So you've got two kind of star point energies for 2028. The next one in 2030 is on January 6th, and that is a Sagittarius Venus star point. Again, retrograde Venus conjunct the sun. And then she'll complete the Leo track and be back with the Leo Venus star point. Again, another retrograde Mercury. So that should be interesting. So you see, over the 8 years, we went from one Venus star point to the next Venus star point in Leo. And this is what it draws out, y'all. This is the star. So if you go from Leo to Pisces to Virgo to Taurus to Sagittarius, you can see the star represented in our zodiac wheel. So I just think that's so absolutely amazing. That right there is reason enough to study the cycles of Venus and her dynamic transits through each of these constellations, especially understanding what phase of the cycle she's in. All right, I think we have two more. Number 7, the 8-year cycle relates to the octave phenomenon. So it also does this, the best way to sort of describe this and demonstrate this to you is if you look at the keys of a piano. We have 7 keys here, the white keys, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That's 7. The 8th one is the next octave. And all this means is that the frequency of this tone, when you play it, over here is double. So if you were to shorten the length of the string by 1/2, you would get the next octave. And that's how it works. So the frequencies become higher and higher as you go this way and lower and lower. And it just occurred to me today that maybe these sharp keys are the star points of Venus. It didn't occur to me until just earlier today. So we've got these 7 layers that we go through, the 7 chakras, and then we've got another octave. And then the star point hits, and there's a death, birth, ascension cycle, death, rebirth, ascension cycle that we go through these octaves. So it isn't easy, and it reflects the cycles, it reflects vibration, and it shows us the octave phenomenon. And then finally, the 13 orbits of Venus create a connection to the 13th sign of Ophiuchus. So when we look at the Last Supper, this is a Da Vinci painting. We've got 12 apostles and 1 Jesus. That's 13. So if you think of the 12 rays extending outward, that's kind of how it is in the esoteric thoughts, is that the center is the 13th energy. And indeed it is, Ophiuchus. So if we take the center of our existence and we align it to that Milky Way portal, that galactic center portal, then that's the 13th energy, and everything else is the 12 gates, the 12 energies that we have to go through in this life to learn our lessons, to ascend, to evolve, and to work with the energy available to us. So that's why I love studying. There's so many more, but I just wanted to give you guys 8 off the top of my head. And let's see how you guys are doing here. That's amazing. That is so cool. This is blowing my mind. So good. Good. Awesome. Great, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Awesome. 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 Love the Venus sky orbit when you showed Jason on Archaics. I would laugh every time you told him, but wait, there's more. Oh, yeah. There's so much more. I mean, I could probably ramble on for a tired 24 hours, although I get tired and have to go to the bathroom. But anyway, awesome. Cool. Okay, good. So what I'd like to do now is go over the astrology that's coming with this Venus transit. We've already looked at the sky. Uh, one of the coolest things to do with dynamic aspects is to watch it in motion in a chart, because then you can relate the movements that you're seeing in the sky to the actual charts as well. So we'll do that real quick. Okay. So this is the moment Venus enters the stars of Scorpio based on this software. So you can see Venus right here. This is her symbol, the symbol of the feminine. And she's leaving the stars of Libra, and we're going to watch her transit through the stars of Scorpio and Ophiuchus all the way to the galactic center. So we'll animate this chart. It won't let me animate. Oh my gosh. Let me make it a little smaller. It might be easier if I do that. There we go. Okay, now it should let me do it. I got us right to the second, because see, if you go back 1 second, she's in Libra. And then if you go forward 1 second, she's in Scorpio. But let's take it by days. So here we are, the 18th of October. Just watch Venus right here. We're going to move through these stars. You can see the moon moving around its usual path. We're going to have a new moon on the 1st. This will be in the stars of Virgo for about 5 minutes, and then the moon's going to move into Libra. This will be our second new moon in Virgo, because Virgo is such a large constellation. And you'll notice that Venus is getting really snug here with asteroid Lilith. So this should be an interesting day too, when we have Moon, Lilith, and Venus all together in Ophiuchus, right at the galactic center. And then when we get to November 9th, Venus is in Sagittarius. Okay, so that's what we're going to go over. There's only maybe about 5 major big transits that we need to kind of look at and think about. The big one that I've been watching that doesn't have to do with Venus necessarily, at least not right now, is this Mars and Pluto opposition. This has always felt to me like a purging energy, like kind of cutting away the things that are no longer working for us. And that's going to be with us for a very long time. And the whole idea of Scorpio and Ophiuchus is also to let go of the things that are not serving us, because you really can't heal and you really can't transcend if you're holding on, if you're gripping onto things. So that is that. Let me show you what Venus and Scorpio feel like. Venus and Scorpio and Ophiuchus feels like to me. So this is when I have a chart in front of me and I'm reading. Yeah, I have a Venus in Scorpio. I have a Venus in Ophiuchus. This is an energy that's able to heal and transform quickly through the sensation of the darkness. So this is the void, okay? She digs into the wounds to transmute, integrate, and release tremendous healing and creative energy. She's extremely aroused in the co-creation, procreation process, and is able to sense weakness and inauthenticity. You can't lie to Venus and Scorpio. They'll see right through you. Venus is never a malefic planet, but can be blocked by other malefic planets. And when she's blocked, when she's not expressing herself, when your Venus is sleepy, this creates a void that consumes the creative energy of others. You're really unaware of the enormous power that you have over others. This is a Venus that is a light in the shadows. So if we're thinking about that central 4th or 5th density light that flows through us, this is in the shadows to everyone else. In Ophiuchus, this Venus lets go completely in the act of creation. This is a surrender. This is the final ecstatic bliss of the dying process. This channels the mysteries of the universe through creation. She's a master of ascension and rebirth, is aroused by revealing and vulnerability. This Venus can be blocked and blinded to the divinity of others and feeding off of others' source lights, almost like an energy vampire if this Venus is blocked. But she truly is the light of divinity. This is where the Sophia is. This is where that formless void of creation contacts the 4th, 5th density light that's running through us and allows us to create the world around us. All right, here are some key transits while Venus is transiting through Scorpio and Ophiuchus. The first one we'll talk about is Venus trining onto a retrograde Neptune in Pisces. This is about until the weekend. This is a separating trine. So if you guys have been kind of feeling sleepy, kind of daydreamish over the last maybe 10 days or so, this is because of Venus is trine to Neptune. Now, Neptune and the North Node are very close to each other. So, Venus, after she does the trine with Neptune, will trine with the North Node and sextile the South Node, and that'll be for about 11 days. And so, basically, what this means is that this healing process that Venus is going through, this walk through the darkness, is directly tied to the evolutionary process of our collective. Our North Node being in Pisces, which means universal love and oneness, and the South Node, remembering remembering ourselves as divine creators. On the 19th, Mars enters Cancer. That's going to feel very, very different for those of you that are tapped into your Mars energy. Cancer has traditionally been thought of as one of the harder places for Mars to transit through, unless they're focusing and channeling their action energy on improving themselves. If they focus it too much on their family, then they will necessarily divert their gaze from themselves. And they feel an emotional frustration because of that. On the 22nd, Mercury will enter the stars of Libra, which is where I think Mercury actually rules and is dignified and does a great job here, being an ambassador, being a representative, being the concierge, being the energy that kind of brings everything into harmony. Venus, I don't feel like rules Libra very well because she likes those ecstatic transformations, and there's nothing balanced or harmonious about those things. Absolutely nothing. And so it's hard for her to be in Libra because she has to kind of walk a certain line, that windy road between the light and the dark. It's a hard spot for Venus energy. Venus is going to start conjuncting Lilith around the 23rd and will separate on the 8th of November. Lilith is our instinctual, intuitive energy, right? So if you're getting a physical hit, that's your intuition. That's Lilith sort of whispering to you. She never actually speaks. She's a combination of shadow Venus and like feminine Pluto type energy. It just makes things happen because there's an instinctual energy, there's an intuitive energy that goes with it. And so Venus will have help, actually. There's going to be some physical cues associated with Venus and Lilith together that will help us follow our intuition. You're going to get a gut hit. Your muscle testing will really work here. Venus and Lilith together will square on Saturn in Aquarius from the 23rd to the 31st. So this is going to feel like a little bit of a tension. Around the same time, Venus and Lilith are going to oppose Jupiter and then trine onto Chiron. So we'll look into that bigger picture in just a minute. On the 1st of November, we have that second Virgo new moon. On the 4th, Mercury enters Scorpio. On the 4th, the Sun enters Libra. And then Venus will end this transit with a square to retrograde Neptune that will last about a week. So we started with a trine to Neptune, and now we'll have a square. So we'll see how this evolves over the coming weeks and what that might feel like for us. We're gonna look at this, but I just want to check in with you guys one more time. Make sure you're doing good. Let's see. I'm blowing so good. Yep. Client coming. Gotta come back to the video. Okay, Christine, thanks for coming. Christine asked also, what is the celestial gate by Ophiuchus? It's called the Golden Gate. And the opposite side of the sky at right between Taurus and Gemini, where Orion and Aruga is, that's the Silver Gate. All right, good. Okay, so you guys are good. Lisa says, wow, awesome. All right, let's look at the actual calendar. We'll dive deep into these transits and see what we want to think about. So you guys, I also do personalized Venus forecasts for individuals. So what we do when we do that reading is we take a look at your natal chart, and I do it from a Venus-centered perspective. So you basically will get your Venus power. Like I'll show you what might block your Venus, how your Venus likes to express itself. And then we'll watch the dynamic transits of the current Venus onto your natal planets and the current planets onto your natal Venus. So it's a Venus-centered forecast. It's really interesting because if you're really trying to tap into that, this is a great way to do it. And it's about a 2-month forecast for you. So if you wanted to do that, the links are below. If you want to know how this is going to affect you personally. These are collective energies. They will manifest in a myriad of ways, depending on where your Venus is, depending on where you have other planets, whether Venus is transiting over them and through them. So it really, really just depends. But I'm going to give you the general energies, okay? So here, this was yesterday. This was that Pisces full moon with that grand cross between Sun, Moon Chiron, and Mars and Pluto. So basically, almost a crosshairs of what could potentially be chaotic or violent energy. I'm feeling pretty peaceful. So hopefully that forecast did not come true for anybody. But but it could potentially be some emotional stuff, emotional triggers just on a personal level, depending on where your moon, Mars, and Pluto actually are. But the transit that we're waning with is Mars and Neptune, or I'm sorry, Venus and Neptune in a trine. That's wearing off on the 20th on Sunday, and we're coming into the trine with the North Node and the sextile to the South Node. This will be with us. We'll be feeling this for almost 10 days here to the 29th. And during that transit, Mars will enter Cancer. Mercury will enter Libra on the 22nd. We will also pick up the Venus conjunct Lilith and the Venus Lilith square to Saturn during the North Node transit. So, like I said, when we're trining the North Node with our creative energy, we are using creative energy to propel ourselves towards our destiny. So, if you are inspired, if you are aroused, if you are creating, that is necessarily going to help you towards your destiny with a Venus trine to the North Node. With a sextile, you have to kind of lean in a little bit and take action in order to get the memories to come up, the memories to be retrieved from that Virgo energy. And I think because we're actually moving into a more of a dense light type of energy, that it's available to us. The memories are coming back. That divine feminine chaos energy, that dark suppressed feminine is bubbling up. You can't stop it. The density of light just won't allow it to be suppressed anymore. And so I think that's what this might be working on, especially where Venus is. There's a swelling here. There's a growing energy as she goes higher and higher in the sky as the evening star, moving closer and closer toward us, going through the dark stars of Scorpio and Ophiuchus. So I think that's what that's all related to. It's about really getting to the meat of what it is that you want to create, what it is deep down in your heart that you truly desire, that you want to manifest. And that's where we're getting to in this part of the sky. Dig deep. What is it? Do you want just healing, or do you want to create something? Venus conjunct Lilith, like I said, we're going to have intuition and instinct at our with us on this journey through the 2 weeks they're conjunct. So the square to Saturn, while normally might be felt as something that's restricting or lacking us, we might be able to anticipate these tensions and these decisions that we have to make. So if Lilith is there providing Venus a little bit of instinct and intuition around how to make responsible decisions, how to kind of hold back some of that energy if it needs to be, that kind of energy. So something has to give there with a square. It's not necessarily a bad energy, but it's two things are not going to work in their fullest expression. So Saturn in retrograde in Aquarius is an energy of authoritative energy, right? Sacrificing your personal freedom for the greater good. And there's pathological manifestations of that. And there's perfectly grounded, wholehearted, wonderful manifestations of that. Personal sacrifice to the greater good. What is your greater good? If it's your family, that's probably really good. But if it's giving up things like your ability to speak or your ability to express yourself, that's absolutely not good. You should not give up that personal freedom for the greater good. Because you have to be functioning on your highest, and that's what's important. And so sometimes you got to ask yourself those questions. So those questions might be coming up for you on a very personal level and within your relationships too, because sometimes relationships ask us to sacrifice when we don't necessarily want to or have to. So all that's going along with the destiny with Lilith and Saturn, Lilith and Venus together squaring onto Saturn. The Saturn square will carry through Halloween onto the day of the Halloween, and then Venus and Lilith pick up 2 more transits on the 29th. That is in opposition to Jupiter and a trine to Chiron. Both of them are retrograde. And then on the 1st, we have our Virgo new moon. So the new moon in general is a time for, and especially within the 3-day window around it, is a time for planting seeds, setting intentions. Whereas the full moon is the reaping. It's the whatever it is that's grown from that new moon to that full moon. Now it's time to reap it. So whatever we've sown, we now reap. Okay. And so we're collecting, we're taking, we're cleaning the slate, we're tilling the field. Now we're planting seeds. So this next week is just kind of disseminating all that you've gained or manifested through the lunar cycle. And then the last week is to clean and till the fields and set new seeds. So Venus and Lilith, with this instinctual, creative, intuitive energy, is opposing the expansive energy of Jupiter in Taurus, that is retrograde. So what is the forward Jupiter felt really good. It felt like there were things expanding, like there were things to look forward to. We only went retrograde at the beginning of the week, so we may not be really fully in it just yet, but it will be full swing by the time we get to the 29th. Jupiter will be moving in a retrograde fashion. So does it mean there's a deflation, or does it mean that this is an internal expansion? Again, that might manifest for you differently depending on what your Jupiter's doing. Is it retrograde or is it direct? But an opposition is basically a balance, a seesaw. So too much creative arousal, intuitive, instinctive energy around healing, opposing, expansive Jupiter and Taurus, which could potentially overdo it in sort of the physical matters, like drinking too much, eating too much, sleeping too much. So those physical matters that we might overdo ourselves on might stop us from being able to be in a creative and healing space for integration. So we want to balance those two things. And we're going to have to do that for a little over a week as well, through the sun transiting into Libra. But then there's a trine on the Chiron, which actually will very much help the whole process of moving through Scorpio and Ophiuchus, because Chiron's about healing. Chiron rules Ophiuchus in our current model. And he attains enlightenment by integrating the deep subconscious wounds. So it's not like you'll actually ever be able to truly heal and get rid of Chiron wounds. They'll always come back. But if you can integrate them, know them, love them, perhaps even go into the void and change the past, change your perspective of your deep subconscious wounds, use them for healing. Once we have an integrated Chiron, then we can teach and we can heal. So this is a great opportunity with a trine to have a nice flow of instinctual, intuitive, arousal, creative energy with the healing energy of Chiron. Venus and Chiron together could be sex magic. Okay, that's a really nice time for that energy. They go together very well, but it needs to be balanced with the overabundance that Jupiter can sometimes provide you. So as we move past that new moon, now we've set in some intentions for healing. Now we're moving into the waxing first quarter moon. The sun moves into Libra. Mercury moves into Scorpio. And this is the 4th of November where we're at right now, almost to the end of this transit. Venus will square onto Neptune. This is her last transit, but now she's in a totally different energy with the sun in Libra, and she's pretty close to Ophiuchus and away from the Scorpio energy. Mercury's now in Scorpio. We are in deep. The whole pantheon of the personal planets are now in the burned path, in that part of the sky that's the galactic center. So we're squaring to Neptune. This is a pretty important day in the United States, right around here too. And I wonder if we'll be distracted, if we'll be tricked, if we'll be illusioned in some way, because squares to Neptune tend to bring out the harder aspects of Neptune, even though Venus and Neptune are octaves of one another, right? So Venus is the lower octave, the personal octave. Neptune's the higher octave. Neptune attains enlightenment through everything that's possible, but everything that's possible isn't possible in the creation energy when we're in a square. Something has to give. There's something, a belief that might have to change. We could be led into something that isn't true or that's better than what we think. So don't be fooled here. If something seems too good to be true, it may not be. That might be the little word of advice for a Venus square onto Neptune. That'll go until the 12th of November, which is when we're doing our Mars class. Okay, so then on the 9th, Venus will move into Sagittarius, and we'll have a different video for that. But you're basically, the beginning of that is getting ready for this Taurus full moon and Saturn stationing direct. Okay. I think I've talked about everything that I wanted to share. Let me know, was that too fast? Was that good? Did you guys understand that? So I think it's really just a process of a healing journey. I think if we can channel our creative energy towards healing ourselves, we ultimately heal the collective. And so whatever dark shadows that you've got lurking, in the closet, in the back of your mind, let them out, let them up, deal with them, integrate them, work with them, and I think this will be a very creative time for you. As far as the rest of the world goes, we have to just kind of watch and make sure we're not being illusioned or delusioned. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that was all I wanted to share with you today. I'm not sure when I'm coming back on live. I don't have anything planned, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. It just means that I'm kind of at a point where I need to see what we want to study next because I've got Mars. I've been working on that. So I'm going to be looking at the coming transits and to see what sort of lessons we have. And I'll probably go live Monday or Tuesday of next week. Okay, guys. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoy your conversation and your shared space. And I hope you all have a wonderful Friday and weekend. I love you all so much. Thank you. Bye.